Please welcome Dr. Scott Sells.
Thank you, Allison, and welcome everyone. I want to start with disrespect doesn't just break rules, it can break families. And over time, months or years of disrespect can really wear down parents, and it can get to the point where it can break our hearts. And for professionals who are attending, it's heartbreaking to watch this stress up close and personal. So for those of you who were here last month with me, we spent time looking at disrespect beneath the surface and how constant fighting can damage the parent-child relationship. And to repair that damage, I introduced a tool last month called the Positive Teen Report, or PTR for short, to restore connection before correction. But if you tried the Positive Teen Report, something confusing or discouraging might have happened. For some of you, you got some small victories with the tool. You might have felt a little softer with your hearts and with your kids' hearts. For many of you, the tool allows you to catch your teen doing something right instead of something wrong. And maybe the disrespect got a little bit better. But here's the confusing part. The disrespect didn't stop 100%. For some of you, some families, it got worse. So the question is, why did disrespect not just stop? That's the right question, and that's exactly what we're going to be answering today. But first, I want you to understand a core truth. Connection, using something like the Positive Team Report, does not, it can help restore the relationship that disrespect has really worsened, but connection doesn't equal accountability. It has to be connection with correction, clear rules, clear rewards, and clear consequences, or what I call a balance of parenting with love and limits, or 6767. So I had to get that one in today because my kids love it. I love it too. So today I'm going to show you what correction really looks like, and specifically what a well-written respect contract is and how it can really be a game changer. And we're going to see this illustrated through my continued work with Max's family as they start to move from the connection, which they tried the parenting, the positive team report, into correction with the contract, and how this balance of these two really helped change things quickly for a 12-year-old that had disrespect for 6 long years. And at the end of today, I'm going to give you the tools to put together a respect contract, whether you're a parent who wants to use a contract to help with disrespect in your home, or if you're a professional working with clients and you want this tool as well. So, for those of you joining me for the first time, I just want to say thank you. We have over 500 people registered for this webinar today. And I just want to say that welcome to the community and that you're not alone, and we do this together. We support one another. So welcome. I'm Dr. Scott Sells. I'm the author of the book Parenting Your Out of Control Teenager. I'm also the founder of the Family Trauma Institute and Parenting Your Extreme Teen. And now for over 30 plus years, I've been working with families and professionals to put together specialty tools like the one you're going to see today for older kids and teens that have extreme problems, not just normal every day, but extreme, like chronic disrespect, and some folks will call it open defiance. So, if you've tried contracts before, whether you're a parent or professional, and they just didn't work, you are not alone. In fact, I hear this a lot. Been there, Scott, done that. Contracts don't work. They'll never work. I've tried them over and over again. I've tried them with my clients. I've tried them with my kids. It doesn't work. So if you're not alone, I hear that a lot. And I love this healthy skepticism actually, because in my 30 years of clinical work and research, and of course, and now I'm also a parent of two teenage boys who have extreme problems, I can tell you that contracts can work. And I'm going to show you today why they may not have worked in the past for you and what you need to do different in the future so that they will suddenly work. So let's start with the number one reason why traditional contracts fail, even when you're trying your best. Many parents assume, and this goes for professionals too, that if the child or teen won't follow the contract, contracts don't work. But that's actually not the real reason. The real reason is almost every contract today, especially for kids, is verbal. It's not written. Verbal rules, verbal rewards, verbal consequences. In fact, in the years I've worked, almost 90% of the time when I walk into a house, I never see a written contract on the refrigerator, on a poster. It's always verbal. In fact, I'll say to parents, "Do you have a written contract?" They'll say no. So trust me when I say this, if this is you. Extreme teens love, they don't like, they love verbal contracts and they will eat you alive. So why? Because kids have this special skill that I affectionately call literal disease. What they are great attorneys, they are great lawyers. They can find the loophole in any contract, okay? Uh, and they are able to, especially if it's verbal, they will win the game. Now, the simple truth is, if it's not written down, a lawyer will say it doesn't exist and it's always up for debate or negotiation. Let me give you a couple of examples here. So you might say to your child, "Hey, your tone was disrespectful." And they say, "Says who? Where's that rule?" Or have you ever said to your child, "Hey, take out the garbage. You didn't take it out. You're grounded for a month." And they say, "Show me where that's written." And you say, "You know what I meant." And they say, "No, I didn't." And off it goes into an argument. When this happens, you are not parenting, you are negotiating. Let me say that again. When this happens, you are not parenting, you are negotiating. And over time, this constant negotiation erodes the nurturing part of your parent-child relationship. Hence why talked about the positive teen report last month. And let me show you a picture's worth 1,000 words. What is inside the mind of a kid who has literal disease? And if you can relate to this picture, please type in yes in your chat bar with all capital letters so we know that we're not alone here. So let me show you this picture of what it can look like with a kid who has literal disease. Here he is. It's literal disease or finding the loophole. And they've got books, believe me, loophole laws and teen tactics. Okay. And if it's not written, they take a magnifying glass and they find the loophole. So if the rules are verbal, they might say, "You didn't say how loud, you didn't say what counts, you didn't say what happens, you didn't say what, you didn't say when." So let me ask you, let me see on the chat bar, how many of you put yes? Let me see. Oh my gosh. Karina, Stacy, Stephanie, Jeff. Okay, we have a lot of yeses. Okay. Well, that's okay. I'm going to show you as a parent, I did the same thing and my kid ate me alive. So what doesn't work is more yelling, more arguing, more negotiation. But what does work is a pre-written rule, reward, and consequence of how you are going to define respect in your home with your child. And it may be different for your child or depending on their household, etc. And is it written out and is it posted so everybody can see it? But here's the trap. If you write the wrong thing and the wrong way, you don't give your child input into the rule, so it's just you being heavy-handed, this could go badly. So that's why this first step is a foundation. You can't build a house on sand, they say. And it's more important you realize. So I want to show you what this looks like going working as a coach with Max's family. The mother, especially, was very skeptical. She's saying, we've done contracts, they don't work. And I usually say, well, let's go ahead and experiment. What do we got to lose? So I want to show you how I custom designed with the family, and Max will see this later for his input, with no loopholes. And let's go to the videotape and watch this because I think you'll like how this unfolds step by step. So, step one is we want a clear definition of the problem. So, what is the rule for respect? Well, when I threaded the needle from your positive Max report, it would be Max, you are respectful when you do what I ask without arguing, like take out the trash. Don't raise your voice. Don't lose your temper. Take things to your room like your backpack when you come home from school. Are respectful in your tone and words. Don't cuss. And we could do chores as part of respect, but I think right now we're going to put that aside just temporarily because when you ask him to do chores, your chore contract could be part of respect, but let's just keep it real simple in the beginning and we'll put chores a little bit on temporary hold, but that doesn't mean you can't ask him to take out the trash or clean his room. We just can get into a chore chart later on. But would these 6 points be the main things that you would be looking for from your son, mom, every day that would say, if he does these 6 things, I would say he's had a very good, respectful day? Are those the areas that you would like to keep, or do you want to change or alter those at all?
Really, there are areas I like to keep.
Is it okay to put a chore chart on the side for now?
Yes, sir.
So here's what it looks like when it's cleaned up here. I also say to families, you can call it just a written family plan if you don't like the word contract. Sometimes kids just really don't like that word. And so you can use the interchangeable term written family plan. But you see up at the top, the overall goal of this is to lower stress, build connection, one problem at a time. So this first step in the process is a clear and written definition of the problem. And you can see that Max will be given this for his input as well. And then there'll be a chore chart as well, right next to this. So, so what I wanted to ask you, no judgment, is Allison's going to put up a poll right now. And what I want to find out is how many of you have a current or past contract that is mostly verbal or clearly written like what you just saw with Max's family? Now, some of you may not have a contract, but if you have in the past or present, and if you're a professional, you can answer that from a professional point of view of the contracts that you give your clients. And or is it clearly written like what you just saw in Max's family? Let's just see. No judgment, just a quick check. Let's go ahead and publish that. Okay, 77%. a little bit under my 90% of when I would go into homes, but you can see that this is a common theme, and a lot of us did not know about this literal disease thing. So let's see the second clip now, because knowledge is empowering. Okay. So I asked the grandmother, Mary, and the mother, Cookie, I said, so what is what's this, how's this new knowledge of anti-venom to literal disease sit with you? Now, let's listen in on what they said, and I'll even join in and talk about my own experience as a dad. So let's go in and watch what happens here. So, Mary, why do you think it's important for parents to have it in writing versus like 99% of the parents that I talk to? I say, if I go to your house, would I look at the refrigerator and would I see this in writing? Most of the parents I talk to say, no, it's verbal. My son or daughter should know what respect is. We've certainly talked about it. But why is it important for a really well written contract to have it in writing? Any guesses on your part, Mary?
Well, if you write the contract, you read it and go over it with him, and you both accept it like a business transaction. Not only are you teaching him what is expected, this is our definition and what is expected, and you're teaching him a life lesson that if he goes ahead and does, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and you're going to do A, B, C, D, and our contract has good. But if not, we're going to null and void. It's not going to be worth anything.
So one thing is it lowers negotiation. It's very clear. This is why contract lawyers get paid $250 an hour, because they know if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. And it gives the kid an opening to negotiate. Like, I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you before, Cookie, but even with my own kids, I've said the rule is clean your room, but I don't spell out what that looks like. So then I go into the room and there's clothes everywhere. And I said, you just lost your privilege. And my son goes, no, I didn't. I cleaned my room according to my definition. They said it wasn't according to my definition. And then I always say, you know what I meant. And then we get to a long argument. So having it in writing is important. Cookie, what do you think? Do you like that idea of that in the future, if I was a fly on the wall buzzing around your house, I would go and I would see it in a poster board really clear so that everybody knows what respect is? Do you think that would be important for your son? If so, why or why not?
Believe that it would be important and it would be a positive tool to be using. Because like you said, the negotiation for, well, you said this, but you meant,
Right.
you won't be misinterpreted on what you said versus what you meant. Um,
Yeah.
it and it's plain as day. It's written out what is expected and everything. So
Right. So the um so the light bulb moment, which I enjoyed, I laughed because it reminded me of my kids, was that before this work together as the coach, it was always verbal for 6 years, and that got the mother really entangled into power struggles. And I just shared the revelation that I had as a parent, how much time I would spend negotiating, not parenting. So, disrespect is not going to be tackled better by you yelling more or getting tougher. You've got to work smarter, not harder. And it's won oftentimes before the first shot is ever fired. When the rules are predetermined in writing and everybody can see them. So, what you saw was step one, but that is only the first piece of the puzzle. There are 5 steps, five, to create a well-written contract. Each of these steps matters and the order matters. So let me show you each of these 5 steps. We covered step 1. Let me show you the other steps as well. So step 1 was we defined the respect rule in writing. Step 2, we have to determine what is our child or teen's currency. What rewards and consequences do they care about? And we also have to understand the concept of privileges versus rights. In step 3, you have to understand how tactically great it is for you to have a warning per day because your child's not used to um, respect, and so they'll get worse before they get better. And you need to know how to use this warning to allow your child to learn how to do what's called self-control. Then, how do you write out these rewards and consequences so they're simple? You can't have a consequence harder on you than your child because it will fail. And most importantly, sometimes you have to understand the curveballs ahead of time. Like, what will you do if your child just rips up the contracts and says, I'm not doing it? Or what will you do if you say, well, the consequences is that I'm taking your iPhone, and they say, no, over my dead body. So if you don't know what to do ahead of time, you are going to be defeated. So it won't even be worth the paper it's written on. So in the time I have, I can't show you all 5 steps because knowing about a contract is the first step. But building one correctly, there's a difference between the two. What I've discovered with parents and professionals is that they don't struggle sometimes with understanding the conceptual need of correction with connection, or as you saw today, literal disease, but they struggle, like Max's family did, with the implementation, the nuts and bolts, especially when a parent is tired, overwhelmed, or in crisis. So that's why I'm doing something really different than I've done before. I've decided that I'm going to do a live workshop on Saturday morning, in the morning on January 31st. And I'm going to be your personal coach, like I was with Max's, to show you how to successfully implement all 5 steps. Now, at this live workshop, you can ask questions. There'll be opportunities to interact with other parents. Or for some of you, I want you to just feel like you can sit back, relax, and just breathe while I, from a servant's heart, do the heavy lifting so that you leave with a contract that you can use the next day. And if you can't attend live, you'll get the recording. The feedback, this is in part because the feedback I got from some of the parents and professionals at the last webinar really stuck with me. I wrote it down. They said, Dr. Sells, I'm not going to buy a pre-recorded course because I won't finish it because I'm just exhausted. I need it live. I need the connection with other parents and professionals. So this feedback really mirrors an old African proverb that I want to show you here that I just really, really love. It goes like this. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So we're going to go together on January 31st, an hour with Q&A after that. So the cost of this, I'm going to still keep at $29 because I don't want that to be a barrier. It's the equivalent of going out for dinner one night a week. So, um, and in that hour, with coffee in hand, you're going to leave with the contract. And I don't know about you, but I think our kids are worth an hour of our time, especially when the chances go way up that you'll leave with a contract that works to restore peace, sanity, and harmony in a household that may have had disrespect for a long time. But when you attend, I want to give you guys a playful warning. try to listen to the live webinar outside of earshot of your child. If you have to, lock your door. Because I've had kids come to workshops before and they don't like me too much because I'm going to be showing you the trade secrets or their magic tricks of why contracts fail. So I just want in a playful way, okay? I want you, if you do come, don't let them hear the workshop because I want you to be 2 steps ahead of them instead of always feeling 2 steps behind them, okay? And because parents and professionals wanted this, if you want both tools, the positive teen report workshop slash mini course from last month and the respect workshop that's coming up live on the 31st, I'm going to offer this as a bundle so you can do it together for $49. And I think as you've seen from if you were here last month or even this month, that having in your tool belt both sets of tools, a positive teen report for the connection and the respect contract for the correction increases your odds dramatically that you'll be able to solve this problem of disrespect. So let me show you, if you want to register today, how to do it, make it very easy. And then I want to show you a video clip of Max's family as they've done this for 2 months to hopefully inspire us as well. So you can take out your phone and you scan this or in your web browser, and Allison will put this link in your chat bar if you're live, or you'll get it when you get the recording. But you'll see that you choose the option that's right for you. $29 if you just want to do the live workshop, and you'll also see an agenda that will show you what you're going to receive. And if you want to do the bundle, do it both, just click on that and you'll go to the cart to purchase. I recommend, of course, both, but you may just want to do one. It's up to you. And here's the just overview agenda. When you leave there, we're going to start by part 1. I'm going to show you more reasons why contracts fail beyond literal disease, and you're going to be shocked, I think, what you'll see. We then will go through all 5 steps in bite-sized pieces, and we're going to help each other. Okay, and I'm going to be your coach. And then part 3 is I'm going to show you how to make it stick, make it sustainable. How are you going to deliver this? What to expect in this first 7 to 14 days? What happens if things don't change overnight? So I want you to leave with something very tangible and deliverable, a clear written contract. And if you're working with a counselor, you can bring that with you to your next session. I'm going to teach you the language because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I'm also going to prepare you for when your child has what I call, like I said earlier, curveballs. So I just wanted to, invite you for that. Now, one last thing that I want to share before we start to move to the last video with Max's family and then some Q&A. I'm doing something very important, and here's what's happening. After the live workshop on January 31st, I'm going to press the pause button, and you will not see any more webinars or workshops from me until July. I'm not disappearing, but I'm preparing for something extremely important. Let me show you what's going to be happening in these months of preparation. So for some of you, you have purchased or at least you're aware of the first book that came out. Let me go ahead and show it to you, called Parenting Your Out of Control Teenager. You can still get it off of Amazon or in some bookstores. But did you know that this book was written in the year 2000, 26 years ago? And when I wrote this book, I was featured on shows like the Dr. Laura Show. I was on CNN as a national expert. But the world has changed a lot in 26 years. Let me give you a couple of examples. Some of you don't even remember this, but in 2000, all we had was flip phones. And now we have smartphones. And how many of you are experiencing what I call tech wars? And anxiety has gone through the roof. We didn't know much about trauma in 2000. Have you seen the suicide rates go up? And maybe you didn't know this, but the research is showing that the mental health crisis for teens is worse now than any time in our history. So for me, the publisher came back to me and said, Scott, we don't usually do this, but would you do a second edition? Well, I thought it was going to be just a light edit, but it became a full on 2 year process. And so I'm happy to share with you, and for some of you, the first time you're hearing this, is that the new book will be coming out in August of this year. And it will also be on Audible as well. And I'm proud of this because I also wrote this book not just as a professional, but as a parent. And, and so you will hear my voice inside this book and many stories with my family's permission because it nearly broke me. But I believe that we're better and it builds resiliency when you go through the tough stuff. So that's why I'm taking extra care these next months to build a vault of material and workshops that complement this book so that when you come on and we pick up where we left off in July, you're going to have a plethora or menu of workshops. And I'm also going to be training parent coaches to work with me to help parents who need guidelines, not therapy, but guidelines through this book. It could be a quiet revolution. So, in the meantime, you'll get an email of I have a new Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for parenting your extreme teen. So check it out because during that time, I don't want to go dark. I'm going to be doing short reels, uh, you know, tips and tools from the new book. So I'm not going quiet. I'm going deep. So I just wanted to share that with you because it was a hard decision. Do I take the time, with my family, uh, get my health and really prepare, or do I just keep going like crazy? No way. I'm going to pause for a purpose. So I hope that some of you will come to the one on December 31st. It'll be 10 to 11:30, 10 to 11, and then we'll just have like some Q&A and I'll give time for that. There's the barcode again to scan it or extremeteen.com/disrespect. I hope many of you can be there live or tell people. I mean, I know so many parents who say, I know like 5 parents who have, disrespect with their kids. So I just want to let you know, please share out multiplications so that we can help as many people as possible because disrespect is one of the number one problems that is causing so much problems with our families today. So let's go back to Max's family and then we'll do Q&A. They've been trying both the PTR, positive teen report, and contract now for 2 months. So I wanted to do something called like, behind the curtain. I wanted to say, how's it going? Because I'm very big into a technical term is recidivism. Did you recidivate? Did you go back to the old ways? Or is there some new change, a new normal? So let's listen in to the family. I think it's 2 to 3 months later. Did the positive teen report synchronize well with the contract? Like they both were kind of like this, like did you see a, connection with correction? And did you see the both of them like a tool together was a powerhouse? Does that make sense? I don't know if you
Does.
Yeah, did you see that the two go together like peas and carrots like this? And if so, how? Like was one like one softened me up, the next one set boundaries? I mean, how would you describe it in your own words?
I say the report was an eye opener, because we're quick to point out negatives in our children and everything.
Yeah.
but we're not quick to praise them. So that kind of help bring out the praises and seeing the positive and not focus so much on the negative. And then the contract, it helps set boundaries and expectations and help hold us accountable as well.
So one kind of plows the ground and the other comes in with structure. And the
Mhm.
two go together well. So, James, anything to add on that? Do you think that's what Sam would say that he likes about this tool before we go to the contract?
I'm in agreement with both of them. He's just had a tremendous turnaround as far as attitude that he realizes that yeah, we do still see some of the bad, but we're seeing more of the positive of what he's doing than the bad. That just because he may mess up doing this, oh, we ain't gonna just get on to him and chew him out or whatever and all. Hey, it's all right. Let's go.
He seems to be more agreeable and he seems to be listening better when him and his mom visit the house together. And he seems to not need as much repetition as he needed before.
Right.
Now, on the respect contract, I'm sure that walks hand in hand, especially on the repetition part.
Yep.
I've listened to him over the phone a couple of times, and he's a boy, and sometimes you have to tell him twice, but he's better. I hadn't heard her have to tell him 15 or 20 times to go put his clothes up or do something like that anymore. But I think the benefit has been from all of this is that they are both looking at each other differently. Instead of looking at each other as rivals, maybe, or as, well, I'm just not going to do this because mom asked me to, or, oh, that youngin' is about to drive me insane. There's more taking time to say, okay, that's my mom. Maybe I should listen. Or, well, that's my boy. I need a time out. I love him. He's just on my last nerve right now. Let me take a second and regroup. And I think that has been the most major thing that I have seen happen is they seem to be more aware of each other's feelings.
So just real quick, if that inspired you, would you put yes in your chat bar? I just want to know if I'm not alone. I just I hear a woohoo. Okay. We need that today. Uh, our time is so precious, and your time being here is so precious that I wanted to honor all of you here by giving you hope. That when we help a family with a new operating system, a new dance, we just heard that underscored beautifully from the grandmother. They're not rivals anymore. Mom learns how to take a time out. James says, we're just not focused on the bad anymore. We're focused on the good. And how many of you know that kids today need structure? They're begging for structure, but it needs to be a balance between love and limits. So, as we close today, I wanted to ask Allison if there were some, you know, question and answers that came up as we were together today. Some questions.
Yes, there are. So we have a few that came in. One is, how does a contract give my child voice without me just laying down the, or
The
me
law.
just controlling my child with the rules?
That's a common question I get. It's a good one because sometimes parents will say, well, won't I hurt their feelings? Am I going to be too heavy-handed? And it's not what you say, it's how you do it. Like, for example, this is what I'll be doing in the live workshop is showing you that kids actually want to have a voice, they want to have a choice, they feel more secure when they're part of the contract. So, for example, you'll see in the live workshop how the kids can have bonus rewards, uh, how they can look at the rules of respect and they can add their own voice in. The parents still have the final veto power, but that's why I'm doing the live workshop because contracts could be too heavy-handed. You want to have that balance, and that's why the positive team report kind of softens the ground. But I've learned this myself as a parent. I've used the contract sometimes too heavy-handed. So over 30 years, it's just become softer but more poignant. So I promise you that if you're on the fence, like, uh, I'm not sure, if I want to be tough with my kids, you can be tough in a good way. But having things in writing and having those 5 steps together is like rocket fuel. So thank you for that question, Allison. What's the next one?
So, Dr. Sells, how do you look at using positive language only? And does that affect the behavior willingness in teens to do better in comparison with using terms like don't?
It's it's where you want to start. Like James underscored it, where there's a deficit there. Too many withdrawals on sometimes catching your kid doing something wrong. So even the contract has a built-in mechanism where the parent is looking to reward the child at the end of the day and also have a warning. So when words change, even if you have to fake it till you make it, then when you say, I don't do this, please take out the trash. Saying F you to me is not um, acceptable. So that's why you have to have both. And the key thing is rules without relationships lead to rebellion. So the contract is built in just as much for the parent. Now, a lot of parents will come in and say, just fix my kid. And I'll say, okay, uh, families will do well if they can, but they need tools. So I'll say to the parent, let's put together a written plan. You can call it a contract or written plan. And parents will tell me over and over again, Scott or Dr. Sells, this changed me as much as my child. And that's a thing of beauty. And that's kind of what you heard is the undercurrent when we pulled the curtain back and saw Max's family. There was a new operating system. So excellent question. Any others that came up?
Yeah, so Dr. Sells, what if I try to write a respect contract and my teen says I'm not following this stupid contract?
Right. Well, I don't want to give everything away because it does take a little time to unfold it, but that's one of the steps, step 5, when we do troubleshooting and dress rehearsals, because you will get that from the kid. But I'll use something called button busters to have be ready for it and to be able to still set the rule without taking it personal when your kid says things like, I'm not doing this stupid contract, or what happens, like I said before, I'm not giving you my phone. So again, that's why I'm doing the live workshop, because the implementation nuts and bolts is so important. So great question. Any others before we end?
Yes, what if parents struggle with implementing boundaries and the contract, i.e., the kid starts problem behavior, the parent gives up and gives them what they want so their kid will calm down? Or what about parents that struggle with their own mental health and can't keep up with themselves and their kid, i.e., parents in a constant battle of parenting fatigue?
Yeah, I say, parents, can you hanker down for 30 days? You don't tell your kid that because they'll be like, oh, I only have to go to day 31. But what happens is that it will get worse before it gets better, but the alternative is much worse. So we've got this real competing parenting philosophies out there today. We've got gentle parenting, which is that everything is a therapeutic negotiation. And the danger of that is that we walk on eggshells and the kid gets more sense of entitlement, bows up. And so parents know on some level that gentle parenting has its place, but when you have total open defiance, the child needs boundaries. But then the other side of it is authoritative parenting, where there's no relationship. It's when I say jump, uh, you say how high. So what we're going to be doing at the live workshop is balanced parenting, love and limits. So for a lot of parents, they're like, I don't want to hurt my kids' feelings. I want to be my kids' best friends. And I always say, how is that working for you? If that's working, keep doing it. If it's not, we need to do something different. So we experiment for 30 days and parents have to act their way into a new way of thinking sometimes. So it's scary, but the alternative is worse. Because if you get a kid that's drunk with power and is 12, 13, and now 16, 17, 18, it becomes harder and harder. Now, the beauty of this is that kids need limits. So even if you're thinking, my kid's pretty far gone, this can still reawaken all the good stuff that is underneath the surface. So thank you for that question. All right, I think we have time for one more and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. How long does it take before parents see a change once a respect contract is done correctly?
Yeah, rule of thumb, not rule of thumb, but just guidelines, is it takes about 30 days to change a habit. Now, it could be longer depending on how chronic this is. So if the disrespect is, been there for a long time, it could take a little longer. Now, Max's family was a great example. 6 years of disrespect on the surface, you're going to think like, oh, this is going to be more than 30 days. So I prepared the parents for that, the mom, single parent mom. But Max responded so well to the positive teen report and felt he had a voice and choice in the contract that he sprang back quickly. So you never know. But the guideline is about 30 days. So okay, as we wrap up today, uh, I until next time, I just want to thank all of you from my heart. I wrote this down because I wanted to just share it with you. I want to welcome you personally to the Parenting Your Extreme Teen community. And my vision is that we are going to be better together to restore families together and help our kids and work smarter, not harder. I know that's overused, but I hope that these tools will just really catch fire. And the new book coming out in August, that combination. So I just want to thank you, and I hope you'll tell people about this. And like I said, I'm pausing for a purpose. So you won't see a webinar next month. I'm going to be putting together a vault of workshops so that in July, right before the book comes out, we'll be hitting the ground running. So in the meantime, I hope to see many of you on my Facebook page, Parenting Your Extreme Teen, or the Instagram page. But until then, just bless you and thank you for what you do as a professional or as a parent. So until later, have a blessed day, everybody. Bye for now.